How about Mario Kart 64?
It's been quite a while since I've talked about any Mario game, and the last time I talked about any Mario Kart game was... Ah! Yeah, it's been a really long time since I've talked about any Mario Kart game. This is when I was shy. I still am.
So basically, long story short, I just got up this morning, I've been up for like half an hour, and I finally got ready to play a game. I was like, oh man, I forgot my morning coffee. So I played Mario Kart 64 for 8 hours instead.
Mario Kart 64. Come on, who doesn't know about this game? You're doing more than just living under a rock while not knowing about this game. It was the second Mario Kart game ever. It was fine, but it did use sprites for characters, which is kind of weird. The only reason why I say it's weird because Diddy Kong Racing used fully 3D environments a few years later. The game initially released in December 1996 in Japan, and the rest of the world got this game in 1997, but China did not because they got this game right before the Wii came out. Yeah, one small issue with China, they have strict laws for anything video game related, and has hindered Mario Kart 64 not being released until 2003. But who can we play as? We have the usual suspects. We have Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, and Toad returning from Super Mario Kart, and Donkey Kong Jr. gets replaced with just Donkey Kong, and Wario is a new character overall. We have a full house. This game was originally going to be called Super Mario Kart R. Who wants to be called the same thing as Sonic R? At least the beta title was more unique. The final title just sounds generic, like any other Nintendo 64 game, because literally 90% of the game's library has 64 in the title. It was decided in 1995, and the R stands for rendered. Yeah, I don't think people are going to know what that is. And plus, you're still naming the game that has the same name as Sonic R. Even though that game doesn't come out until 1997, but still! The game was mostly complete in late 1995, yet they still refused to show anything about it. Originally, Magic Koopa was going to be a playable character and a feather was planned, but ultimately scrapped. Depending on which character you play depends on how your character controls, Mario Luigi being medium, Peach and Toad being light, and a staggering 3 heavy characters. Of course, my biggest dilemma is that the characters that have old sounds, which just sounds weird in a multiplayer game. That's not friendly, that just reminds me of my childhood fears. And Toad has the most iconic voice ever. That's going to give me nightmares. Luigi is going to be my character because... It actually sounds fairly okay, even though his voice is not his modern voice. Yeah, they just had to make him high-pitched for Super Smash Bros, didn't they?
Damn, the voice actor must be busier than busy.
The gameplay feels like an average Mario Kart game. There's nothing really too exciting that makes it stand out from Super Mario Kart, except for the full screen now. They can do that? The drifting, I would say, is the most exciting part here, but it's driving what you're expecting. Going over ramps has no boost on them for some reason, but I don't know if it was the track I was playing on. The overall gameplay is fine, I like it. The controls are super loose though. When trying to avoid objects, I just give up and accept my fate. Banana doesn't really do anything. Once you're hit, it takes a century and a half for you to recover. And if you're in one of those situations where you just get hit endlessly, oh yeah, grab some popcorn, you're going to be there for a while. Drifting is quite weird because in 50cc mode, it's fine. 100cc mode, you can go off to the side. 150cc mode, you can actually spin out of control, which is dumb and stupid. And then the computer players, these are quite difficult, which isn't actually bad. I had fun playing this game because the computer players actually gave me a challenge, which is sometimes, it's a little unfair in this game. You can't be telling me with the mushrooms to boost me forward, the computer is still unrealistically ahead of me. And another issue of mine is the attacks, the chain of attacks actually, if you're lucky enough. And then another issue is that you get bumped into just at the right angle and you lose control. Again. But honestly, some of the maps had the computer players hitting other cars and just flying. That was really fun. Now we have the general idea of the items from Super Mario Kart. Mushroom, banana, green shell, red shell, star, thunderbolt, Naboo.
Please explain.
Generally, the mushroom gives a boost. The banana makes the player go out of control when ran over. The green shell is an attack mechanism just to be thrown. The red shell is just that, but it locks onto an enemy. The star makes you temporarily invincible. The thunderbolt shrinks the other players. Blue gives you temporarily invincible. It's a little shorter this time, but it does steal another player's item to make up for it. The feather was originally supposed to make a return, but then Nintendo cut this early on. And of course the tradition. We have new items. Triple Mushroom gives you 3 mushrooms. The Super Mushroom gives you an abundance of boosts. The fake item box looks like a real item box, but when we ran into, you go flying. The triple green shell and triple red shell. I have already explained the triple mushroom, should be fairly easy to understand this one. Spiny shell is new, targeting the player in first.
Not until Mario Kart Wii.
The main game mode is fine, it's your standard Mario Kart but on the Nintendo 64. Nothing different here. The tracks have 3D models, but it's fine. But then the battle mode. Today, we might take it for granted nowadays, but back then, 4-player battle mode was unheard of, and it was spectacular. The only issue is that you can't have bots at all in the battle mode. They had bots in Grand Prix, so I don't know why they would not be allowed to have bots here in battle mode. Battle mode's not even an option for one player. You have to have multiple controllers hooked up for you even to select the option. Yet some of the maps in the battle mode are actually fairly decent though. Big Donut gets the award for being a circle. Block Fort is one of the best maps in Mario Kart 64, no question about that. There are so many spots you can hide, it's so great. Double Deck is just weird. And Skyscraper is actually quite memorable, this one. Block 4 is better, and plus it's actually probably inspiration for Block Plaza on Mario Kart Wii. Now the tracks. Normally people would pick Mushroom Cup to start. If you pick any other cup first, then you're weird. Luigi Race Ray is a driving course with a balloon.
Damn. I'm shocked.
Moo Moo Farms is fun, but there's really nothing that makes this pathway stand out. Koopa Troopa Beach is really cool because it's got a big statue and a shortcut. Calamari Desert is really fun, and my favorite. It's really funny to see all the other players get stopped by the train, then pass you. And then you have to wait for the train. Next is Flower Cup. It's fine. Toad Turnpike is obviously the best one on this list because it has a bunch of cars riding alongside you, so when the other players hit the cars, they go flying, and it's really funny. Frappe Snowland is the bane of my existence now. Choco Mountain's fine, same with Moo Moo Farm. The overall aesthetic is cool, yet the pathway here has nothing to stand out. Mario Raceway. I thought we already covered that. The Star Cup. You're really testing my patience, aren't you, Royal Raceway? Wario Stadium holds the record for the most Wario faces, yet it still doesn't get rid of the fact I'm not a fan of this track. Sherbert Land I adore. Yes, the only map that has penguins. I love penguins. Royal Raceway exists. Seriously, I had no other ideas. Bowser's Castle is cool, and I hate this section where the thwomps chase after you and always stop right in front of you, but it's fine. Special Cup is the final cup. Now, what are we going to into first? What the hell is with the steamboat in DK's Jungle Parkway? I can tell they really wanted to make this track some sort of raceway, but they didn't realize they didn't have a track for Donkey Kong himself. Then they made a jungle slap parkway in front of it, and I don't think anyone would notice. Yoshi's Valley is the definition of chaos in Mario Kart. This track is neat, yet at the same time it's not. I know it's unique, but it's got like 15 different roads for you to choose. The game just gives up on trying to figure out and telling you who's first, but the game still does it anyways because the map highlights the player in first. Banshee Boardwalk!
Now what's a Banshee Mario again?
This one's neat, but it's a haunted horror theme. Why did they put this as the only one and all the way at the end of the game? Sure, I know it might be difficult enough to warrant a spot in the final cup, but why when Toad's Turnpike makes me almost pass out because of the stress not running into 50 cars? Rainbow f***ing Road. The longest track in Mario Kart 64, scratch that, the longest track in Mario history. Sure, the overall theme is really cool with seeing all the other characters' portraits in space with neon lights, and it's a lot easier than Rainbow Road on Super Mario Kart, but did they really have to make this super long? But the overall game is a really good game just to sit down and play. The game is a beloved game even to this day. I know there are some flaws in it, yet this was the second Mario Kart game. It's probably challenging, especially when it comes to the jump to using a fully 3D environment. But now I've already mentioned before the loose controls. The time to recover is about as long as me finding someone to date.
Psst, psst, psst. It's never.
With the visuals, now you might be wondering, what issue I have with the visuals? Well, the sprites are one thing. You're telling me Diddy Kong Racing manages to utilize a fully 3D environment, but not Mario Kart 64, which the items and characters are 2D renders? Shall I continue? The item balancing is another one. This is really broken. For some reason, I get powerful items even though I am winning. Do I really need a Power Storm when I'm in 4th place? But overall, the game I really enjoyed playing for this occasion. But the main question is,
Only after Super Mario World.